Hey, what's up? Chris here. And today I wanted to do a video that's slightly different to maybe the generic lead generation or sales-based content. And it's a nuanced video that might seem a little esoteric. However, it's something that I see so often with clients. I've been consulting now for over a decade with over 1,000 customers to date. And I've seen this theme over and over again. And I get obsessed with what makes somebody successful versus somebody else who have access to the exact same information. Why do some people succeed and others don't? And it really comes down to this one thing. And in this video, I want to share with you how to master self-trust so that you stop chasing the approval of others and you trust yourself. You allow yourself to be led by your heart, your gut, and your head. You know, something that's been really impactful and empowering for me has been my own inner spiritual development. Now, I don't outwardly talk about my practice as a spiritual practitioner or, I don't have a faith in terms of a religion, but I have a deep sense of connection to self. And it's one of those things that people don't really know, but they receive from you an energy. It's not something that they can say, that's what you do, but they notice. And I think it's so important for you to really understand that your own vessel, your transmission, who you are as a human being, is one of the most important things that you could work on if you were a coach. Because frankly, people don't buy coaching, they buy coaches. It doesn't matter whether you've got a gym, an online program, you're a personal trainer. You as the individual are the business. And yes, if you hire a team and you've got other trainers, that goes without saying. They become part of the business. But equally, it's your leadership that creates the culture of that team. And so if you are in a position every day where you don't trust yourself and you have this self-doubt and you want approval of others, and that might look like trying to prove your worth. You go over and above for clients. You overstep your own boundaries. You're messaging clients at 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night. You're always available. It's this approval-seeking behavior that actually diminishes you as a valuable coach. It's only subtle. But I've worked with some tremendous coaches in my life, and the ones that I've respected most are the ones that have very clean and clear boundaries. For example, my very first mentor, and I won't mention his name, but I worked with him for a very long time. I would only contact him via email, and I was paying him thousands a month. Thousands. I would never dream of sending him a message on Facebook. I'd never dream of sending him a text message, even though I had his phone number, simply because I respected the boundaries that he set. And this is really subtle, but if you have the behavior and energy that I need you more than you need me, then what you'll end up with is let's call it a toxic client-coach relationship, kind of codependent. And it's this weird dynamic where the client has a massive expectation of you to do certain things for them under their time frame. You then become a glorified slave to that client. And they might pay you handsomely. They might be a great client, but if you experience anxiety waiting to get back to a prospect or a client, then I can tell you right now, it is a drive from within that is creating that. It's an internal thing. You don't want them to see you as not valuable. It's something that is created within. And I see it in clients all of the time. We show up in different ways because we want to prove how smart we are. I had an incident with a client on a coaching call the other day, and he was talking about this specific client. He turns up, he trains, he doesn't train that hard, but he actually loves training. And this particular client came to me and he was like, I've got this client and he doesn't push himself and it drives me mad and And I was like, does he enjoy the sessions? He said, yeah, it's like his time and his space to focus on himself. I said, I'm curious, where in you is the thought that he is not receiving value because he's not being pushed to the nth degree by you? And what we ended up breaking down was actually the fear from my client was that this guy was going to see him as a bad coach, or he was going to think that he wasn't good at what he was doing, or worse, he was going to leave because he no longer seen the sessions as valuable because he wasn't being pushed till he was lying on the floor in a pool of sweat and sick. And this is really important. Your value needs to be so deep rooted inside internally that it is unaffected by those outside of yourself. If a client cancels and you get a certain feeling, and that feeling is one of self-doubt, or it's one of anxiety, or it's disappointment, or you think that you've been doing a bad job, that is work for you to do. That's not necessarily because the client canceled. That's how you're perceiving this internally, what it means about you when somebody cancels, that you're not valuable, you're not good enough, rejection, abandonment. And it's this inner work, this spiritual development that you must go through to root your value in yourself. And honestly, if you're a coach and you're somebody out there creating value, it's so important because a client canceling can derail you for like a day or two, especially if they're a loyal and amazing client. And I've been on a really deep healing journey over the last 3 years, and I'm going to share in another video why that is. But I can remember a couple of years ago, I was out in Istanbul and I went for a solo trip by myself for a week, and a client canceled while I was there. And it actually ruined my entire trip. I went to Istanbul to have an experience by myself. Here I am just enjoying life. I receive a message on my phone that a client was canceling and going to another service provider. And that stung as much as a relationship breakup. And I sat with that for the rest of the day and I thought, there is no way in hell that a client leaving my program should have the same biological and physiological response as me going through a breakup. And I'd already kind of started my deep healing journey by this point, but it made me realize that this was actually touching on a wound way deeper, way deeper, and something that wasn't linked to the client leaving. As we grow up as children, we all have something of rejection or abandonment or lack of self-worth or lack of, being seen as being valuable in the world. And what we've got to be very mindful of as creators and as business owners is that this doesn't transpire into our business transactions and relationships, because this is the thing that really will prevent you from growing and scaling a company. If you get a cancellation every week and it takes a day off you, that's 52 days a year of disrupted business growth. And so what I want to transmit in this video is really this idea that in order for you to scale and grow your business, you have to become the person that can scale and grow a business. But that doesn't necessarily mean the skill set that you require to do so. You could be great at generating leads. You could be great at making sales. You could be great at doing funnels and all the other stuff and be a great practitioner or a great coach. But what are the parts that are holding you back emotionally? What are the parts that are keeping you from moving forward in your business and life? Because if you allow every interaction with a client to dictate the value that you have and you don't have that rooted inside, you'd be like a bit of driftwood in a river, just getting battered from rock to rock to rock. And, business and relationships are the two places in life that we grow the most. And I want you to understand this, that you have to work on you because it's you extended out into your business. Your business is an extension of who you are as an individual. And if you don't work on yourself and root value in you, it's going to mean that you charge less than you're worth. You're going to overstep your own boundaries to serve clients, to prove that you're worth what you ask your clients to pay you. And 3, you're going to build codependent relationships with clients where you expect them to keep paying you and they need you to be valuable for them. And I can promise you this, whilst it might seem like an esoteric and kind of wildly different video to anything that you see, these are the things that I see that hold entrepreneurs and business owners back, especially within the fitness industry, and especially if you are a coach, because ultimately, if you have abandonment or rejection wounds that haven't been handled, every time a client disagrees with you or leaves, that's going to be triggered up inside of you. And you're going to be fighting against your clients, grasping to keep them. Nobody wants to work with the coach that's desperate for a client. When you know, and you can place your hand on your heart, and you know the fucking value that you bring to the world, and you know how potent and powerful you are as a human being, and you know that you can transform and change the lives of the people that you work with, and you have a deep-rooted belief that what you charge is a fraction of the value that you bring, and that if you were to charge 3 times more than you do right now, it would still be a great deal. When that level of value is rooted inside of your heart, your gut, and your head, people start to pay attention. And people will be grateful to be in your energy. They'll be grateful to be a client of yours. And they will happily pay you the money that they pay you because they see that they could pay you 3 times more and still be getting a great deal. So I hope you enjoyed this video. This is a very different style of video. If you're enjoying this level of content, hit subscribe, hit like, share this with a friend, share this with somebody who it would benefit, because honestly, this is the inner game of growing a business, and very few people actually talk about it. Whilst there's a world for lead generation and sales and funnels and all that jazz, oftentimes that only amplifies the inner problems more so. And I promise you, you do this work and you root value in yourself so deeply that it'll be felt by others. Catch you soon.